Yeah, I know, Nozzle is a really weird title for an episode, but I swear, as you're listening, you're gonna notice pretty quickly how there's just no other word more appropriate. Yup, Nozzle. So, what's it about? Well, there's weird self-soothing techniques on Pitney's part, of course. And then we talk about some recent mental health challenges and what we're doing to deal with them. Yay, therapy and meds and being proactive and stuff. Oh, and we apologize for the inconsistent sound quality. Crappy California weather has resulted in Pitney occasionally being surrounded by fans the size of jet engines, apparently. Welcome to Pitney and Amelia's Bitchin' Boutique!
We may be awful,
But we're right!
Okay, so something happened at work a few days ago, and all my co-workers thought I was insane because I was so delighted by it.
Okay.
And it triggered a memory of when I first moved to Austin and was staying with you for those few months in your apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And what it was is we have in the Starbucks kitchen at my workplace.
Yeah.
We have a fruit fly infestation.
Oh, how exciting.
Which is, I mean, that's normal for that sort of place, like, whatever, right?
Oh, yeah.
But
Fruit flies were a very big thing when I lived in San Jose, because that was in the days of the malathion spray.
oh my god, you remember? Oh yeah, you were here.
Of course I do. That was when I lived there.
Oh my god, it was, remember the fruit fly scare? Yeah, the planes would go by with all of the chemicals, and I thought it was fabulous.
And they would tell everyone what nights they would be spraying, and you had to close up all your windows and cover your cars
because they're spraying the malathion. Oh, I loved it.
Oh my god!
I still fantasize about malathion to this day because of that. But anyway, so
such a weird thing to remember that the poison they were spraying was called malathion. I will never forget that name.
But the guy that came, he was like this little weird old man. He probably had to be in his 60s. And he was just very methodical with his little nozzle. Going around doing, where the fruit flies were, going behind the refrigerators and behind the freezers. And then he had this special thing, and this fascinated me. I could have watched him do this for 5 hours. Where he'd go and he sprayed this little foam in the drains that would foam up like... And it would fill the drains with these foam to kill. And
because they were like down in the U-trap or something?
They were in the traps,
flies?
And yeah.
Oh, weird. Okay.
And I loved it. And this geeky little old man, I was just like, I was fascinated. And I ended up talking to him about his methods and why they do the foam and all this and that for 15, 20 minutes.
Oh my god.
And I remember my coworkers were laughing at me, and I was like, but I love pest control. And they literally were laughing at me. And, for several hours afterwards, I have this one guy that I work with who I really like. But every time he would look at me, he would start laughing because of the pest control thing, right?
Okay.
And then, of course, me being me, when I got home, I was thinking about it. And then I realized Okay, so when those short few months that I was living with you in that apartment in Austin,
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this, but two times, the maintenance guy came in and did routine roach control in the kitchen.
Well, I don't remember, but they'd have to do that a lot because that was a nasty apartment.
Oh, yeah, but God, roaches, those awful tree roaches are all over the fucking place in Austin. But yeah, but anyway.
Yeah, but we had the little bitty roaches.
Oh, yes, we did.
In the kitchen, yeah.
But I remember he came in 2 times that I was there, and I was so fascinated because he's come in with this canister and this little nozzle, and he goes, shh, 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 all around the bases, of the countertops.
Oh, God.
And I could have watched him for 6 hours doing that, and I would have been happy.
Oh, my God. No, I probably was at work. I'm guessing I was at work.
I don't know why. And then I remember whenever we had the carpenter ants at my old house on Woodrow Street in Austin.
Oh, God.
We always had to have the because, my windowsills are just being eaten alive because that house was like 80 years old.
And it was like unsealed wood, just
and
open,
they would
exposed
come
wood.
with these little nozzles, and and I don't know why, but that thrills me. That fascinates me. It makes me happy. And it's some weird thing that I think about for comfort. And it makes me happy thinking of those nozzles going that are killing bad things. Isn't that weird?
Do you think it was a thing from your childhood?
It has to be, but I'll be damned if I can remember. Because between my fucking weirdness...
Yeah.
And also all the fucking years of therapy that I've had.
Yeah.
I cannot think of anything, but it's just... When I think about the roach guy in your apartment, it literally gives me, like, physical feelings of pleasure, like, up my back watching him with the nozzles.
I can't even... Oh,
yes!
God.
And, oh my God, so... Here at home... I have a tree. I have 2 hummingbird feeders on this tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have become infested by ants.
Right.
And when the pest control guy comes, because we have a pest control guy that comes.
Oh, we have a guy. Actually, we have 2 different
every
teams
2
of
months.
pest
He
control.
comes every 2 months. And oh my God, it thrills me whenever he comes because I can watch him with his nozzles. But him treating that tree, oh my God. It's like, I can even feel it. There's like a part in the back of my head. It's like this rush of pleasurable chemical when I see the little nozzle. Isn't that fucking weird?
I mean, if I had realized that you love that so much, okay, I'm going to tell you something. And when you were here, did you even realize that you were sleeping under a ceiling that was separating you from an attic that had pest control guys go up there to put out like rat traps and to seal it up because we had rodent activity in our attic after the big freeze, after the big winter storm.
Oh, see, no, that doesn't thrill me at all. That just grosses me out. That does not thrill me at all.
But that's pest control.
There's something about
you only like it if it's bugs.
It's like the little nozzles. And the little meticulous going around the nooks and crannies with the nozzles.
I guess I've never
going around the
watched
base of the tree. It's weird, but it's a thing.
I've never watched the guy who treats the yard.
Oh,
I've never watched it.
I can picture in my head the countertop at that apartment and the guy with his brass colored nozzle going like chick 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 chick, and then behind the canister and then chick chick chick, and behind the canister.
And behind the oven.
Thrilled me like I could have watched him do that for hours and hours. I know it's weird. Like, what the fuck does it even mean?
I mean, I don't think I've ever watched it happen, so I don't know what my reaction would be, but I've never wanted to watch either, so I think
there
I wouldn't be too
is
excited.
nothing more soothing than watching a little nozzle with insecticide foam filling a drain.
Maybe, I wonder if there's like ASMR videos.
I guarantee you, it will thrill you to see that.
I don't think it will. But you know what ASMR is, right?
Yes.
So, I wonder if maybe there are ASMR videos that are just a guy quietly walking around and...
Oh my god, that would be thrilling to me.
You would just go right to sleep. You would be so happy and soothed, you'd go right to sleep.
And speaking of pest control, what another sensuous pest control memory I have. And I say sensuous, but not in a sexual way, but in like a soothing way, right?
Okay, no, I know.
When I was working...
Because that would be gross if it wasn't.
When I was working at UT in the payroll office...
Yeah.
When I had Lindbergh...
Yeah.
Remember, it was like constantly a flea battle over there.
Oh, God. But that house and that yard were...
And it was constantly
a
flea
big
battles. And that was when the topicals first came out.
The drops between the shoulder
and that
blade
first
thing.
came out, and I remember there was like I don't remember her name, but it was some professor, and she came in all the time, and I just become friendly with her. I wouldn't say we were friends, but we were very friendly, right?
Yeah.
And I remember coming in from my lunch break, and she was standing in the lobby, and I was like, "Oh, hi, Professor Smith, whatever the fuck her name was." Hi, how are you? Oh, how are you? And how is your dog? Oh, he's fine. And so I had pictures of the dog on my desk, and,
Right.
And I was just like, oh, honey, these fleas, and blah, blah. She's like, well, there's this new thing, right, that can take care of that. And I remember, because back then was, like, the really beginning of, like, PC stuff. Where you didn't touch people, and you didn't do this, and, And I remember she was like, well, there's this new thing that's come out. And I remember she really purposely put her index finger and her middle finger together. And was very deliberately, it's this new thing. And you put a drop here, and she touched the back of my neck. And then she very purposely put her hand away, and then you put a drop here, and she touched the base of my back. And it was like so deliberately to not be a thing.
To only just barely touch you?
And I don't know why, but I think about this to this day, and it somehow is like a pleasurable experience for me. Isn't that weird?
Okay.
And so because it was talking about flea control.
Because it was a combination of a discussion of flea control plus the very deliberate two-finger touching on the back of your neck.
It was so fucking weird, but I've never forgotten that. And in moments of despair, I think about that and it soothes me. But yeah, that is a comforting thought for me. And is it the pest control? God. Is it the deliberately non-invasive touch? I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I should talk to my therapist about it. We could have a whole month's worth of sessions on pest control.
Sanctus
folds. I nearly did this segment about the patron saint of being afraid of insects. That would be Saint Gratus of Aosta. You can look him up. But we're about to get into some really good mental health stuff in a minute. So instead, I'd like to talk about Saint Dymphna, the patron saint of mental disorders, sleep disorders, neurological disorders, depression, anxiety, and some other unpleasant stuff that'll become more apparent as her story unfolds. Spoilers and trigger warnings, I guess. See, when Dymphna was growing up in Ireland, her mother died, and her father, the king, kind of lost his royal marbles a bit. He got so messed up that when encouraged to marry again, he insisted that he would only marry a woman as beautiful as his beloved wife. Meanwhile, Dymphna had been a very religious child and had taken a vow of chastity at age 14, and, looked a lot like her mom. So her dad got really creepy. So creepy, in fact, that his frightened and inventive child got a priest and the court jester to help her run away to Antwerp. I mean, if I had a dime. Anyway, they ended up settling in this little Belgian town called Giel, where she and the priest set up a hospice for the poor and the sick, and then her gross perv father figured out where they were and showed up making his disgusting demands to return to Ireland with him and do wifely duties and stuff, and of course she refused. So her gross perv father drew his sword and chopped off her head. 15 years old, wouldn't bang her dad, so he killed her. And so, in addition to being the patron saint of all sorts of mental illnesses, like I mentioned before, she's also the patron of sexual assault victims, incest victims, and runaways. But one really cool thing about her is her legacy. In that town of Giel, a church honoring her had become so overrun with pilgrims coming to pray to her for intercession for their mental illnesses and psychiatric disorders that the townspeople decided to help out. For over 500 years, that town has been known for its citizens taking strangers into their homes, treated as members of the host families, given work, and becoming part of the community during their stay. Some may stay a few months, some a decade or two, and some the rest of their lives. In the 1930s, there were 4,000 of these guests housed with the townspeople of Giel while they received treatment. And the treatment was primarily kindness. While a lot of the rest of the world was putting their relatives into asylums and straitjackets, most of the pilgrims of St. Dymphna lived pretty damn well. It's quite a testament to how much good being treated decently and not wanting for food or shelter can do for your mental health.
Okay, so you know, I have been going through a lot of personal issues.
Oh, yeah.
Dealing with, living here with my much beloved mother, but also sometimes the bane of my existence.
Uh-huh.
I know you can relate, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I think I told you, the shit hit the fan. Who was it, 6 weeks ago? Or 4 weeks ago?
Oh, God, I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, there was the whole you need to get out of here and blah, blah,
Right.
blah. And I was like, I can't. Anyway, just the same old shit. And it's just like over the goddamn air conditioning. Anyway, but.
Of course.
We worked all that shit out. But then, so my solution was, I mean, originally I was just going to leave.
Right.
I totally had to plan. I was just going to fucking go.
Right.
Because I can't, I just don't know how much longer I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But then we had conversations, and we talked, and we had some compromises, and I was like, okay, but I have to get away from here for a while. I have to go for a little bit. I can't do this. I'm gonna go nuts, right?
Right.
So my solution was, originally, I was gonna go to Colorado for a month, and then I was gonna go to New Mexico for a few weeks to see von Liechtenstein in New Mexico.
Right.
So I talked to work, and initially I was going to quit work and be rehired so I could have all that time.
Yeah, but
was my first thought.
Right.
So I talked to work, and they were like, oh, we'll totally rehire you, but it's going to be like, substantially less to rehire me. And I'm like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, that's
so
not
what
that.
Can
That
I
means
do?
that means no. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So I said, well, what about leave of absence? When could I take a leave of absence, and how long could I take it for? I said, I want to take it for 8 weeks. And they were like, well, you can't do that because technically holiday season starts in October, and we don't allow
That's true.
leave of absence, and other than an emergency or vacation time for more than like 2 days or something from October through January.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, let's just do it through September.
That's
right?
true, because your store, like, even though it's officially Halloween season, it is totally already Christmas there.
Oh, God, yeah.
It is absolutely Christmas there, even though Halloween shit is all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, okay, I can work with that. Let's do that. So anyway, made these phone calls, called, my friend in Colorado. Okay, this is what's going on. I called von Liechtenstein. Not going to be able to come in October, but I will come to see you out there in the spring, right? So, okay, so that's taken care of. In the meantime, my mother, as the listeners have to know, because I talk about it all the time, but if they don't know, I live with my mother. She's 89 years old. She is almost completely deaf without her hearing aids.
Mm-hmm.
And with her top-of-the-line $8,000 hearing aid, she still can barely hear.
Yep.
What has happened now, her good hearing aid on her good side has failed.
Yep.
So she is in despair, stressed out, depressed. We're trying to get it, and she was calling. They weren't going to see her till the end of September. So I called them, and I raised a fuss.
Right.
And I was like, she has been with you for almost 20 years. And you better make an effort to see her because she just bought these hearing aids, like last year. And
right.
her copay was like $6,000. And I was like, you better see her pretty damn pronto. Because I was mad. And guess what? Oh, we'll call you right back. Okay, that'll be damn. They call me back in 10 minutes. They're seeing at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
I love that.
But in the meantime, it's probably going to take weeks to get a new set of hearing aids in because they have to order them and blah, 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 blah. So that going on, and she's been crying a lot. And, my cousins were just here, and she's really depressed because they left. So now I'm feeling guilty about leaving for a month.
Right, because you were fixing to leave,
I was
right
fixing
at the beginning
to
of
leave
September.
Wednesday.
Like the beginning of September. Like 1st of September.
I was going to leave Wednesday or Thursday and come back October 2nd or something.
Yeah, you were going to leave the 1st of September and come back the 1st of October.
The plan.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I have the money for it. I have an envelope of gas money, so it's no worry. I got my car, I mean, not fixed. There was nothing wrong with it, but I got it checked out and the oil changed.
Right.
The belt, you know what I mean. The
Oh,
whole
yeah.
shebang. I was ready to drive to Colorado. But now with all of this going on and the tears, and because I'm a codependent asshole, I've decided I'm not going to Colorado for a month, even though I desperately want to, because I can't do that with this hearing thing going on.
Right.
So what I am going to do for my mental health, I have booked 3 4-day trips.
Oh, cool.
So next week, I'm going Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to that hotel in Felton, the old hotel with the beer garden and the bluegrass bar that's right next to the Redwood Park.
Yes!
Me and the dog are going to go spend 4 days there.
Fantastic.
The week after that, I got an Airbnb in San Francisco.
Oh,
Me
my
and
God.
the dog are going for 4 days.
Oh, my God.
And I bought tickets to see the Ramses exhibit at the De Young.
Oh, my God.
And then the week after that, I booked an Airbnb and I'm going to stay for 4 days in Guerneville at the Russian River, the town we used to have our river house at.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
So I'm not doing the whole month, go living in the woods.
Right.
In the middle of nowhere for a month, which I was so excited about, but I can't do that to her right now. I just can't. No matter how angry I am, no matter how much I need to get away, I can't do that right now.
But you're still getting time away from her in short bursts.
Yeah, this is 12 days in a month that I will be gone. That's
and you get to be with your puppy.
Yeah, and that's going to help immensely, and I think it'll be good for her because she'll be like, oh yeah, maybe it is kind of shitty with Pitney not here. Maybe I need to stop being so ridiculous about everything.
Right, because her saying you need to get the hell out of my house, it's like she suddenly realized what would happen if you got the hell out of her house. Her hearing aid broke. And then she found out what would happen even if you were just gone for a month. What if you were gone for a month and her hearing aid was broken? That's what happens, Pitney's mom. That's what life is like if you're not there. She realized, she is dependent on you.
So that's my solution.
That's fantastic.
And it's actually ending up, it's going to cost me a hell of a lot more to do this than it would be to drive to Colorado, because I was going to drive to Colorado and I was going to work at my friend Bobby's grocery store for a few
you were going to have a job. Yeah.
So this is actually going to cost me a hell of a lot more money, but
I think you'll have a lot more fun.
But it'll be fun. I'll get away. For the next month, I'm on demand at work, which is, you go onto the schedule and when there's shifts, you pick them up.
Right.
So I will work 1 or 2 days a week, if I want, and then I'll be regular in October. So I work.
So you're not taking the leave of absence; you're just working very minimal schedule.
Yeah. So tomorrow and Tuesday are my last 2 scheduled days until October.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So that's what I'm gonna do. So totally different plan, but that's what I'm doing.
That's terribly exciting.
So yeah, and I was dying to tell you when we were talking on the phone earlier, but I wanted to tell you live because I wanted to know, you know what I mean.
That's terribly exciting.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I was actually really looking forward to going and living in the middle of fucking nowhere for 4 weeks.
And being at a place in Colorado at a higher elevation where the weather is nicer and whatever, that would be kind of nice too.
Yeah, but it's just not feasible right now.
But it totally makes sense. I mean, I think I would have freaked out if you just left your mom there. I think I would have freaked out a bit. I would have been so who did you set up to go be with your mom while you were gone? I would have Like, you just left? If you had just taken off, I think I would have been, like, really, really freaked out.
Yeah, and I know, and she thinks she can live on her own again.
Oh.
She can't.
Well, it's like my dad with his whole, no, I can take care of myself. I can fix my own dinner. It's like, shut up, old man. You can't do anything yourself.
I know.
You can't take a shower. You can't even put your own teeth in. It's like, God damn it, Dad, you can't
my
do
mom
anything.
is pretty independent as far as all of, that goes.
Yeah.
But she can't hear, so I kind of need to be here.
Yeah.
And, and so the other compromise, anyway, so for the listeners, without going into detail, the big issue here is the goddamn air conditioning.
Oh.
I cannot be in a house that's hot. And Mom is old and she's always cold. We had air conditioning put in.
Yeah, that house didn't have air conditioning until Pitney moved in and was like,
2.5
God
years
damn it,
ago.
this house needs air conditioning.
And she won't let me run it. And it's things like I come home from work and it's literally 82 or 83 degrees in the house and she has a fit that I'm running it because, it's so expensive. So anyway, after numerous fights about that, I finally took the bull by the horns and I was like, okay, fine. I am canceling your PG&E because I'm a host on everything. Because she can't talk on the phone, so I'm on everything.
Right.
So I took PG&E out of her name and put it in my name. And I was like, okay, I'm paying PG&E now. It's coming out of my checking account. And you were to never talk about the air conditioning again.
I love that so much.
Because it's not about the money. It's about control.
Absolutely.
And I took that control away from her.
Because I swear to God.
Because that's the only thing I asked for.
Your electric bill is lower than my electric bill. Your electric bill is nothing.
I mean, that is the only thing I asked for, and I can't even have that. It's like I gave up my entire life to live here.
Exactly.
And I can't even have fucking that? Give me a break. So anyway, there's been a lot going on, and hopefully...
It's like, for it to be 4 degrees cooler in the house, you can, it's like all of that for it to be a little bit cooler in the house.
Yeah. And so anyway, hopefully these several weeks of mini trips will help my mental health, because I've been, like, living on pills.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And that's what's going on with next month. The crazy next month.
Oh my God.
Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own.
Why are you doing that voice?
I don't know. I thought it made me sound cool.
It doesn't.
I'm Jason Bishop, host of the Invasion of the Remake podcast, with co-hosts Sam Stepanenko and Trish Coughlin. Join us each week as we rotate talking about your favorite films and their not-so-favorite remakes.
We'll also dig deep to find forgotten films that we think are more worthy of remaking, complete with our own fantasy casting.
You can get all 130 episodes and counting on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play Music, TuneIn, Radio, Player FM, and all the best podcast providers, even
frickin' YouTube.
For the low, low price of absolutely nothing. Join the invasion. Subscribe today.
Or we'll blow up your planet.
Ooh, I want to talk about pills.
Ooh, yes.
So here's the thing. So, like, this is like just like a whole mental health extravaganza. So I spent a lot of years on Wellbutrin. And that is some powerful shit. That is some strong ass shit, Wellbutrin. And like about half of the time that my mom was sick, I was on Wellbutrin. When my mom died, I was on Wellbutrin. During that period that year where I was in my severe depression, I was on Wellbutrin that whole time. And then I got off of it because I was realizing that even though I was going through all that and things were really, really bad, there was a lot of, like, things like I remembered how certain things used to feel, but I wasn't feeling them.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I started realizing it's like, I'm feeling certain things, but what I'm mostly feeling is just numbness.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I decided I really wanted to get off of that shit. So I spent some time working on getting off of all of this other shit. And I recently got off of my other thing that I was on, which was a dopamine inhibitor, which is something, I mean, basically, a dopamine inhibitor is something that they give people who have addiction issues.
Oh, naltrexone, yeah.
Naltrexone!
I'm on that now.
Naltrexone is some good shit, but...
Yeah, I'm on that now.
Yeah, but...
Every night before bed.
Yeah, yep. I that was something that I took at dinner time every night. Partly because a lot of my impulse control issues happened sort of in between, like, say, from, like, between 5 o'clock and bedtime. Mm-hmm. I get a lot of that's like when like the little devil is on my shoulder kind of time, and that's when I have these, just go ahead and take that. Oh, just go ahead and take some more of those pills. Oh, just go ahead and eat that. Just go ahead. Go drink that. Oh, just go ahead and have a go ahead and drink and go ahead and make yourself a cocktail. Go ahead and do whatever, because even though I normally don't. But if I'm really fucked up, if my brain is fucked up, that's when the little voice starts telling me to go do shit. And it's like, the naltrexone keeps me from having that. Because it's And because it's the, you'll feel better if you eat a donut. You'll feel better if you have another serving of that. Or whatever it is. And I've been very good about, just general things for quite a lot of years now. So I told myself, it's like, I don't think I need... It's like, I'm having so many emotional problems that I don't think cutting down on the amount of dopamine in my system... If you don't feel happy anymore, can I have some more dopamine? Would that be okay? Can I not lessen the amount of dopamine in my system if I don't feel happy anymore?
And sometimes you need to feel shit and cry it out, scream it out to process it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So I've been working on getting rid of all that. But recently, my therapist, just because in, like, say the last year, but probably more the last 6 months more than anything, and some of it has to do with, like, just the way the pandemic sort of kind of intensified a lot of shit. But my therapist has started to be very blunt with me about a lot of things that she's observed, and
good, and that's her job. Yeah.
And she has told me that I am now on track to I'm now doing intake processes for a psychiatrist so I can get on new meds. Which is terribly exciting. What my therapist told me was that, for like the last year or so, I've been watching the light go out in your eyes.
Oh, interesting.
She's like, you don't care about anything anymore. She's like, I know you get really hyped up about things, and you can get excited about stuff, and you care about, you talk like you care about things, but if I ask you questions, you don't care about anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I kind of don't. She's like, if I ask you about things that should be the kind of things that should be important to a person, you don't care. And I'm like, yeah.
And I've noticed, because I've known you a long time.
Yeah.
And now that I've definitely noticed it.
And
but I chalked it up to... not that I was trivializing it.
No, of course
not. I'm not saying that, but I chalked it up to the stress of dealing with your sisters and your dad.
Oh, well, and that's actually one of the next things I was going to say was she said something so amazing the other day, and you and I, we've always, whenever we talk about mental health stuff, and we always say, yay therapy, everyone should be in therapy, therapy is so much more available to people than it used to be because online therapy is such a thing now. And
Yeah.
it's so accessible. If you can't get a therapist in your city, you can get a therapist in any city. You can
Yeah.
get a therapist anywhere you want, and you don't even have to look at your therapist. You can, you can do it on the phone. You can do whatever. And
Yeah, I've had my therapist that I've had for 2 years now. Her office is like 5 minutes away, but I've never met her in person.
That's so astonishing to me. That's so amazing. But like, so I was talking about just sort of just general frustrations because there's just been a lot of shit lately. Like
Yeah.
the last couple months in particular have been just insanely stressful, and a lot of the stuff that I deal with is, a lot of the questions that she and I work on with me is, I don't know if it's very hard for me to tell the difference between, do I want to do something or do I have to do it? Am I doing it because I want to or because I have to? Like, I don't know the difference between... Everything is... So much stuff has been drilled into me. Like, it is your duty. It is your job. Yeah. Everything is my job. And...
Oh my God, it's funny. What I go through, it's like, even things that I really want to do.
Yeah.
I end up not wanting to do them because I feel like I have to, and that pisses me off, so I just don't do them, even if I really want to.
There are
it's
things,
because it's like this thing. Yeah, it's so weird.
Kind of like if I, like when I was trying to explain to her, like when I used to have people over, when I used to have big parties and have people over, the thought of doing that now, now granted, some of that is, the thought of having a lot of people in my house stresses me out, but there's so much to do, and they have to be here at a certain time, and I have to make all this food, and I have to do all this stuff, and it's work. It is work to have fun.
Oh yeah.
And when I think about it, it's like, it always was. So... Was I doing it because it was expected of me, or was I doing it because I really wanted it? And
but
it's
when
like,
we were younger, I don't know, because I remember having those huge parties, and it was like weeks of work and preparation and planning.
Absolutely.
I loved it.
Right.
Now, though, oh, hell fucking no. I can barely handle, like, putting the speakers outside to have the neighbor come over.
Well, see, like, and we used to talk about,
but it's because I'm coming from a place of depression now.
Right, and, like, we used to have no fucking money, but we could somehow scrape together hundreds of dollars.
For costumes and props and sets
props
and food.
And food for a party.
And lights and the shit, yes.
And building a fucking stage in the backyard to put on a drag show.
I know. I kind of miss that.
Oh my God. But I want to say what my therapist said, though, because I am leading up to something. So I was talking about... there's a million things I've been pissed off at my sisters about, but I was talking about, like, generally things like how I get mad at my sisters because they don't seem to have changed their life as much as I have, like in the pandemic. Like one of my sisters doesn't seem, she still goes to the fucking movies and she goes to restaurants all the time, and she goes to plays and shows and movies and restaurants, and she's constantly... And is this the
one whose husband had COVID, 2 or 3 times?
She's had it! It's like, she and her husband have had COVID. And it's like...
But more than once, right?
Well, one sister's husband has had COVID a couple of times. The other one, she and her husband have had COVID. But that's 2 separate situations.
Yeah.
But like, it makes me mad that, like, she will be out and about doing all this stuff and then come down and breathe on my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm like... It's like she's not taking it into consideration that she's caring for a 91-year-old man.
Yeah.
And I have to, like, I am never more than a day or 2 away from being at my dad's house. I am constantly right with, I am always within that window of I'm going to be right next to my dad. So I always am aware of that whenever I'm around people. And my therapist goes, fuck him. And it just startled me. And she goes, I mean, no offense, but fuck him. He's lived his life. So what if he gets sick? And I was like, what? And she goes, he wouldn't do that for you. And I was like,
it's sad, but it's true.
It's 100% true. She goes, your dad has already demonstrated time and time again that he would not go out of his way to do anything to make sure that you're okay.
Oh God, no. I know.
But,
I know.
And she goes, but you do all of this to make sure he's okay, and he doesn't even notice that you're doing it. So this is the only life you're getting, and you're not living it because you're worried about him. And I was like, shit.
I've never thought about that, but
God damn it!
No, I mean, because, as intimately as I know you and your family, know. But yeah, she's right. I never thought of it, but yeah, she's totally right, yeah.
I was literally at his house. My entire family except me was in Florida over the weekend. What would they do if I went on that trip with them? No one would have been here to deal with all the shit, and to have been at Dad's house fixing his dinner so that when he arrived home and got home from the airport, his house was all ready for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
But look at it this way. You so did not want to be in Florida with your dad and your sisters.
I didn't want to.
God.
I mean, if I could teleport there and just see some people and teleport home and not have to deal with all that shit, that's different. But it's like the whole dealing with all of that, I can't. And also, this week at work has been the worst fucking week. I mean, it's like everything leading up to this. I told them 1,000,000 times. It's like the worst possible timing.
Yeah.
I literally have been doing the work of 10 people for the last 2 months. And so, everything about this has been, all of this has been culminating in me filling out, and this is all, when you were talking about meds, I had to fill out, this weekend, the intake form, the intake questionnaire, for my new psychiatrist.
Oh. God, I didn't have to do one of those.
Well, this is when you have to answer the questions, okay, wait, let me open it up. Okay, so, when you have to do over the last 2 weeks, how often have you been bothered by the following problems? And then it's not at all, several days, more than half of the days, nearly every day. And they'll be little interest or pleasure in doing things, feeling down, depressed, or hopeless, trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. And I gotta say, my first instinct when I saw, little interest or pleasure in doing things, because I'm me, and it does make me wonder if this is true for everyone who fills out one of these things. My instinct was to just go, oh, not at all, I'm fine. Just dip, 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 dip. No, I'm good. But then I had to stop myself and go, no, you're literally making an appointment with a psychiatrist because you're fucked up. You have to answer these questions for real.
Before, it's not the same questions, but they're similar. Before every therapist appointment with Kaiser, I get one of those questionnaires.
Before every appointment?
Appointment, and I have to fill it out.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I really do try to be as honest as I can, and it's interesting because she's noted that it's always different.
That's that's interesting because that would that makes me feel like I almost want to keep a copy of this questionnaire and, like, make myself answer these questions once a week or something.
Oh, you should. That'd be
see how I do.
interesting. Yeah.
The weirdest thing, and this might feel like a little too weird to just say on my fucking podcast, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But so, like, it's like I'm going down these questions, and there was this one that I could not answer, but I had to like write in an answer, which is not what she wanted, because I could not check a box, because it said feeling bad about yourself, or that you are a failure, or have let your family down. And I just sat there thinking...
But those are all three different things.
That is, first of all, that's three different things.
Yeah.
But I had two reactions simultaneously. My brain said, fuck that. I don't feel any of that.
Yeah.
But my body started to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, oh, that's weird. And my body just went, oh, that's odd. So I just sort of wrote a little note next to it going, we may have to discuss this one. Because I have to,
see,
like...
that's awesome.
So I had, like, I'm marking all the boxes, and I just sort of wrote that next to it, because I have to, like, scan this and send it back into her.
Yeah, because it's like feeling bad about myself. Often, but it depends on the day.
Yeah, it's like...
Do I feel like a failure most of the time, but I really don't give a shit because all I've wanted to do in my whole life is be lazy, so I don't care that I'm a failure because that's what I've wanted? Have I let my family down? Kinda yes, kinda no. Yeah, it's not... They're all different, right?
Well, and feeling like a failure, like, I don't even know what feel like a failure means. I fucking don't even know what that means.
I don't even... Because, I mean, I said that kind of tongue-in-cheek. It's like, I feel like a failure all the time because I've never amounted to anything, but... I've never wanted to. I've just wanted to have a chill, hippie life, and that's what I've lived.
Like, as an adult,
you know?
I think as a child... See, because there's... I mean, feel like a failure is like... I always had very mixed messages about whether or not I was a failure. Uh-huh. Because I always got really good grades, and I worked really hard to be like a really, really good kid, and I was trying really, really hard, except that I refused to clean my room, which was the one thing they really fucking wanted from me, and I wouldn't do it. And I also realized at a very young age that I was never going to look the way they wanted me to look.
Yeah.
I was always going to let them down in my appearance because I wasn't going to be pretty like my sisters. So fuck it. And so I just kind of decided that I was just going to look the way I was going to look, and I was just going to get by with however I looked.
Yeah.
Because I was always going to be a disappointment to them. But there wasn't anything I was going to do about it because I thought the kind of feedback that my dad would give me about you need to learn how to do your hair and wear makeup kind of shit. Mm-hmm. Because my dad had really weird ideas about what I should look like. And it's like, I mean, considering my older sister didn't get that kind of feedback, but she didn't date a guy until she was done with college, and then she married the first guy.
Oh, and what a gem! What a gem!
The first hideous, nasty guy who looked at her. Both of my sisters married the first guys who they ever went on a date with.
Oh, I know.
I mean, which one of us turned out okay? I mean, I'm a fucking mess, but at least I didn't do that.
Oh, God, I know. That just reminded me of, my father,
that asshole.
Dearly beloved, passed away father.
That asshole!
He used to try to bribe me.
Oh, my God.
To go to the gym. Because he somehow thought that would make me less of a faggot.
Because you were so skinny?
Because I was skinny and Nelly, and he used to try because he wanted me to look like a football jock or something.
I don't think there's any amount of exercise that was going to make you look like a football jock.
No, but that's what he wanted. He wanted me to be like a football jock, and it really wasn't until...
Wow.
Really, the last couple years of his life, when he was, 88 years old, that he even came to terms with it and was able to have a sane conversation with me about anything.
When he finally realized this is the son I have, and he's not going to turn into somebody else.
I know, and it's like, I remember about 6 months before he died, we were getting off the phone, and he said, "I love you. You know that, right?" God, my God, you could have just slapped me with the board. But it was great. It was a beautiful moment.
It's crazy.
But before that, we had a conversation about me being gay and stuff, and and he was like, "Well, you're my son, and whatever you need to do, and blah, blah, blah," and, and I didn't say anything, and I was like, I wish you could have said this, 35 years ago. It would have made my life a hell of a lot better.
Oh my God. Yeah, like 17-year-old you could have really used a little bit of that.
Well, no, because back then he was too busy beating me up.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Beating me up and calling me a fucking skirt.
Exactly.
That was his term.
Exactly. Oh my God.
God bless him. God, bless his heart.
Bless his little heart. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy our show, please take a moment to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher.
If you send us a screenshot of your review, we'll send you a Bitchin' Boutique sticker.
Everyone loves stickers! Please subscribe or add us to your favorites wherever you get your podcasts.
Subscribers get new episodes first and are also more attractive.
Drop us a line anytime at PitneyAndAmelia@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you!
That just triggered a memory. You know what else I remember regarding this?
Oh, no.
We've talked about this on the show before. When I was in grammar school, how the nurse used to come in twice a year with the little sticks to give us all lice tests.
I don't have any lice test memories, but
that was the most soothing, pleasurable thing to me, and sometimes I still think about those lice tests.
Yeah, I don't have any.
And isn't that weird? I just remember the stick going in and the moving of the hair and the little stick, and it's like, oh no, everything's okay. There's nothing there.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to talk to my therapist about this, because goddamn it, it's gonna be fascinating. I never did have lice. Well, not head lice anyway.
I was just gonna say.